Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Todd Does Not Beat Brad Unless He Has Pack Rats in his deck.
Little do you know, my affinity deck's playing Pack Rat.
Today we're going to be playing Modern in honor of the GP that just happened in Worcester, along with all the premier IQs that are going to be starting to run at every single Open. So on Sunday, if you don't have a Legacy deck, well, you should get one because the format's awesome. But if you don't, but you do have a Modern deck because you're playing PTQs, you know, you have a deck now to finally play on day 2. So instead of, you know, preying on those Winnaboxes or booster drafts, you can play a Modern Premier IQ.
When you, about $1,500 or whatever, however much goes the first place.
12, I think.
1,200, I don't know.
I think. I have won a Classic back before they were Premiers. And I think that's what it is. But anyway, guys, today we're going to be playing a pretty good matchup in the format. Tarmo Twin versus Affinity. I'm going to be playing Tarmo Twin, Patrick Dickman's new version, because when it comes to Modern, I only listen to him. So what this deck's trying to do is be a mid-range deck with Snapcaster Mages and Tarmogoyfs to distract the opponent long enough to have a combo kill. So it has 2 different ways to attack. One is to threaten this at all times, so an opponent is not going to be that super aggressive against open mana. So you can get an early Tarmogoyf into play to play defense or offense, and then for the rest of the game you're holding your mana up all the time.
Yeah, I've played this deck a reasonable amount now, and I found that like the tempo side of the deck actually wins more games than the Splinter Twin side of the deck. And a lot of that's due to the fact that people do have a lot of ways to handle this after sideboard. So even if like your game 1 play is combo kill you, sometimes it's okay to side out some or most of the combo because of all the hate that people are going to be bringing in. Just rely on Tarmogoyf. It's worked a long time.
And the reason that the tempo side of the deck wins most of the games is because an opponent will always have to play around this or they just die. So when you have open mana, 3 mana or 4 threatening to be able to combo kill if your opponent taps out, they have to respect it. So because they respect it for the entire game, you just nickel and dime them with setting up your draws, you know, Tarmogoyfs and Snapcasters. But the new addition to the deck is Huntmaster of the Fells. And Patrick always has, you know, a really good read on the metagame. And the reason that Huntmaster's in this deck is because once it comes into play, you're never really going to want to use your mana on your turn anyway. You only have Tarmogoyfs and Serum Visions to use it. I guess 1 Flame Slash, but that's probably gone by now, and these are 2. And now you're just going to say go and threaten to flip your Huntmaster, but because of Snapcaster Mage, he alone is 2 spells.
Yeah, you get to flip him very, very easily. Like, you know, the deck has a lot of ways to draw cards, keep your hand full with, like, you know, Snapcastering on either Remand or Serum Visions, just like counter drawing with Cryptic Command. And so, like, once the time comes, you're going to be able to pass with this pretty easily and then flip them, like, maybe sometimes even on your opponent's turn, you flip them with Snap Bolt or something, and then you get to untap, pass turn again, flip and kill something else, too.
Yeah, and if you're a little bit ahead in the format, this is going to generate the card advantage needed to just finish the game because the format is very grindy.
Yeah. One cool thing about the deck, too, is that your threats are actually very high impact, whereas your opponent has to try to kill them almost immediately. Like, your Tarmogoyfs will be need to deal with, your Pestermites and Deceiver Exarchs will normally be need to deal with pretty quickly, and since your opponent is burning their removal spells on these, it's much more likely in this deck that Huntmaster of the Fells is actually going to stick around and be able to continually flip back and forth.
You know, it gets grindy, attrition-based things happen all the time. Like, you get to like turn 4 or 5 when just both players have a very small amount of resources available to themselves. But yeah, so that's the deck. The only thing that I have problem dealing with is the double Tectonic Edge along with the Forest or the Forest Mountain Stomping Grounds Cryptic Command deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little ambitious, I think. The from the mana base that I played at the Grand Prix, the 2 tech edges were a Sulphur Falls and an Island, and cutting 2 blue sources.
No, actually, and this was
me personally.
You played a Flooded Grove.
I did not. I played 2 Sulphur Falls, 2 Inland Harbor, 3 Island, 1/1, and then 3 1/1.
Oh, okay.
I had 5 and 5 on my lands. But yeah, I mean, cutting 2 blue sources just does not feel that right to me. But having Tech Edge does have its advantages. You know, there are a lot of games where you don't need to Cryptic Command on turn 4. So the odds of being able to snap Cryptic Command are much smaller, though. So
yes. But anyway, guys, that's the main deck. Let's take it over to the sideboard, and then we'll get to Todd's Affinity deck list. All right, so in the sideboard, a lot of things stayed the same for the last like 6 months of this archetype being a thing. But we have had some new additions, which the coolest one is the Kranos, God of the Storms.
Not sure how I feel about him. He's basically just a draw engine. He's very good against Jund, obviously. But, I mean, you can never turn him on, though. So
he's the one you don't want to turn on. He's just a card draw engine,
Sure.
and he like bolts things. I've seen this in play all the way back to Legacy, and it was very powerful.
That's true.
And so because of these matchups where both players are just going to run out of resources, and you're not trying to combo them, this is a huge way to get back in the game. It just takes over the game immediately once it comes in, and the game comes down to the opponent having to be the aggressor because now they cannot win in the long game. The other cards in the deck are pretty self-explanatory. Anger is going to be good against like this matchup. Against Todd's robots, along with any aggressive zoo deck or birthing pod strategies. Dispel is your card that's good in like mirror matches or other matchups that have remand, along with all the control decks and all the Sphinx's Revelation decks. Dismember is a removal spell that's best against Infect, but can also be good even in matchups that are trying to deal you damage, just because it's just efficient at killing creatures. But most importantly, it's the best removal spell against other Splinter Twin matchups.
Yeah, being able to only spend 1 mana to kill like an Exarch or a Pessimite or even a Spellskite when you're trying to combo off yourself is pretty huge in the mirror. Your life total is much less relevant in the mirror because you're both trying to combo kill each other, which, since you're both trying to combo kill each other, a lot of times a Tarmogoyf will just end up winning the game, which is kind of cool. Like, you're both so focused on playing defense that it's, the one that gets through is like the Snapcaster Mage,
yeah,
like over and over. So
yeah, Batterskull is just your end game in the aggressive matchups, where Kranos is your end game against like the control and grinding matchups. But they both come in against Jund. They're just both good, spells. Affinity, graveyards, creatures with 2 or less, cards, artifacts, and enchantments. It's a modern sideboard. Let's just get to Todd's deck. Yeah.